Hey everybody, how's it going? Here we've got an A1398 Macbook. It's not powering on. Let's open this thing up and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it and make it work again. We're gonna grab a magnet. We're gonna grab a screwdriver. And we're gonna get started. There we go. Alright, we're gonna get the overhead camera going. So first thing we're gonna do here is see how much power the board is taking. So I unplug the battery. I want to see how much the power the board itself is taking before getting into anything else. Just going to flick my power supply on. Or not, because I chose the wrong COM port. Because I'm a noob. I always forget the COM port that my power supply is on. COM 3. All right, it takes 13 milliamps. It's also not giving me any green light. All right, so we are going to, oh, never mind, we're getting a light. We're getting an orange light, but it's kind of intermittent. That could be because my charger is beat to crap, or it could just be the machine itself. 17, 18 milliamps, so we're going to take this apart and try and figure out what's going on with it. Are you all excited today? I hope you're excited. All right, so the board has been taken out of the case. This is a standard 820-3662 2013-2014 15-inch MacBook Pro A1398 model with only an integrated GPU. And as you can see just from the preliminary look, this doesn't look like anything has been corroded or exploded or anything like that from first view. You got a little bit of crust here and there, but a little bit of crust here and there. It happens. So first thing, let's see. Once everything is unplugged from the case, does it turn on? And there's no fan spin, and we're still taking 17 milliamps. 17, 18 milliamps. So I'm going to get the multimeter software going on the screen. We're going to open Paul Daniels' Flex Board View software that I have not updated for about 3 years now. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to look it up and see what version of this software that I'm using. This software is some old stuff. By the way, everybody, Cam is in the chat. He is one of the best people here for responding to inquiries. One of the best that I've ever had, at least in terms of how long it took for him to really learn the ropes. And just he took pride in responding to every single customer inquiry within, like 20 or 30 seconds. It's insane. And it's one of those things where I will always appreciate the effort that he put into the work. So if any of you are in England and you're looking to hire someone to work at your repair shop that's going to make you look like a great business, or if you're looking for someone to hire that is going to answer your leads before your competition answers those leads so that you can get that business, consider looking at Cam in my chat and hiring him. The last that I heard, he was he told me what his compensation was at the other job that he was working. I'm not saying that everybody should be paying their employees like 6 figures or anything, not that you could afford it at that time, but the rate that he was getting was a rate that was really, really low in contrast to the value that he has the ability to bring a business. So if you're in the UK and you run a repair shop and you're having pain in the ass responding to customer inquiries and all that, please do consider hiring Cam. Just going to put that out there. Also, we have Piernov in the chat over here. He's one of the smartest people that I've met in the board level, component level repair industry. I actually want to talk to you later about some wiki contributions. That's going to be something that that was on my checklist, so I'm probably going to get to Piernov later. So we're going to open up the schematic and the board view here, and we're going to go through and eventually figure out that this has a dead PCH or something, because that's really my luck today probably. But let's go through it before we make that assertion. Let's go through this board. So we're going to go through the power rails that we always look at. That's going to be on page 60-something. It used to be on page 2 or 3, but Apple changed it because, let's put the most important part on the last page. So we have a light in the charger, which means that our one-wire circuit is working. If you don't know what the one-wire circuit is, I'm not going to explain it now because I'm sick and effing tired of that. I have playlists and I have like dozens of videos explaining what that is. That gets us the green light, so I don't have to check that PP342 power rail. Next up is PP Bus G3 Hot. That's another power rail. We are going to measure and see if that power rail is present. It is. It's 12.5. That sucks because that means it's going to be something else. All right, we're going to measure PPV RTC G3 Hot. That's another power rail, and it's probably going to be present. Every now and then there's corrosion on these caps down here, but that's not going to be the luck this time. And it's 3.42. Yeah, it's not looking good for me. All right, next power out, PP5ES5. PP5ES5 is going to be next to the TPS 51980. That chip looks perfectly beautiful, nothing wrong with it. Wait! Ooh! Okay, there's 5 volts there, but I missed something. Okay, this is how I can tell that getting into semi-retirement here is starting to fuck me. Last time someone told you to look into the FSF in regards to right to repair, I think you should look into the EFF as well. Trust me, they'll definitely help. I'll think about it with the EFF. I will most certainly take a look at it. Thank you very much for the 100 knocks. All right, so there's something that I missed over here. And let's see if you can see it. I can't believe, man, it really... You take a couple of weeks off of doing board repair videos and you forget how to find effing corrosion. So can anyone tell me what's wrong here? Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know why that's beautiful? Because that means it's going to be an easy board repair. So I was going down the list of power rails and I was checking and I saw that PP5ES5 was present, and PP5ES5 is created by this chip, which is crazy because that power rail is actually there. This entire corroded section, believe it or not, is actually doing its job. The problem is that what's probably next to it is not going to be doing its job. So we have corrosion over here. That's for PP3V3S5, PP3V3S5. So I'm guessing PP3V3S5 is probably going to be missing. And I'm going to plug it in one more time to confirm that that is the case. So if I were to, I think that PP3V3S5 is most likely going to be the rail that is missing. And we can confirm that by just giving it a little plug in one more time. Man, this is something else. This is something else. Look at that. Look at that. Minor corrosion. All right, so PP3V3S5 is missing. It's gone. It's not there. Yay! Woohoo! So, see how we figured that out. So we have PP3V3S5 is missing. PP3V3S5. You have all these pins over here, like you have VBST and Driva and LUL. This is short for LOL. CISP, SYN. This is your current sensing over here. This is going to be to turn on the buck converter over here. So this chip is going to tell this transistor when to open and close and open and close and open and close. And that's going to take the 12 volts that's coming in from up here and have, 12, 0, 12, 0. Transistor lets 12 through. Transistor doesn't let 12 through. And it's going to be a little bit of 12, a lot of 0. A little bit of 12, a lot of 0. A little bit of 12, a lot of 0. And then when you put that through this coil over here, instead of being a little bit of 12 and then a lot of 0 right after, it's just going to even itself out to a nice even 3.3 volts. That's what this chip is responsible for doing, and obviously it's not able to do that because it's corroded to shit. So we are going to replace that chip with a replacement. If you were to ask Texas Instruments for a TPS 51980, they will not sell it to you, and the reason they won't sell it to you should be painfully obvious. But once the 501c4 is formed, we draft and finish working on the right to repair bill. We put it for direct ballot. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get it voted in, and that will change. And that will change. By the way, I just thought that I would answer a question that I actually received. I met an interviewer with the American Conservative last week, and I gotta say, of all the people that have shown up at my office or asked to do an interview or done a piece on me, this dude did his homework. Like, I don't know if he agrees with me or disagrees with me. I have a feeling that he leans towards disagreeing with me on the right to repair thing. But the one thing I will say, I respect the degree of homework this person did. He was quoting things that the opposition said, that I said, from 3 or 4 year old hearings. And he wasn't just going through videos that I did where it's a 2 or 4 minute edited video. He was pointing things out that I said in a video that was 2.5 or 3 hours long. He was pointing out things that were said 2 hours into the 2.5 hour long video. So I very much respect that person, even if we wind up disagreeing on things. But he came in to do a piece, and one of the questions that he had is, listen, I mean, back then you said you had 3 or 4 employees when you testified. Now you say you have 15. So in 4 years, you've quadrupled the amount of employees you have. And when you say that these companies are keeping you from being able to repair things, how do you square that circle when your business is literally growing? And that's actually an excellent question. So I figured this is a good thing to answer, because right now I'm going to be replacing this broken chip that I say the manufacturer won't sell with another one. So I likened it to a drug deal, right? So marijuana is illegal in certain, many areas. This is quickly changing, but there are lots of places in the U.S. where you could, over the past few years, get in trouble if you possessed marijuana or if you sold it. However, in my high school, where I went to high school, in Susan Wagner High School in Staten Island, if you waited for period 4 and you went to lunch and then you went to the bathroom and you went to the last stall, you could give the dude $20 and he will give you a bag of weed. It is that easy to access that even if you are a minor, all you need is $20 in your pocket, and you can get the marijuana. Now, people who are pro marijuana, or even in the, let's say, prohibition days back in the 20s, they could find a place where they could drink if they wanted to get a drink. It's just a little bit more difficult, but you can. So something can be illegitimate, illegal, or difficult without being impossible. It doesn't change the fact that you would want to advocate for it to not be impossible. So just because I know where to go to buy a bag of weed doesn't mean that there's no problem with the law as it exists, because the law as it exists means the person that is providing me with that bag of weed that I would, smoke at home or whatever if I were a smoker. I'm not a smoker at the moment. It can get in serious trouble for it. That is still a problem. If you believe that people should have the freedom to smoke what they want in the comfort of their own home, as long as they're not harming others or driving or anything like that, just because you're able to go out there and find it in an illegitimate manner does not mean that there is no problem. There is still a problem with the fact that the individual who provided you with that marijuana could find themselves in prison. By the way, what I did here is I added new solder, and then I use this Gootwick over here to remove the solder that I added. The reason I do that is because in addition to the fact that I'm using leaded solder and they use lead-free solder, and when possible I prefer to not combine the two, it's also a good way to clean. I want to get rid of all the corrosion there, and I'm also going to really dig in on that section that corroded, and I wanted to see if there was anything I could do there to revive that pad, but that just wasn't meant to be, so I'm going to run a jumper. Like when it comes to prohibition, just because you know where to get a drink doesn't mean that it's not bullshit that you have to all pretend the moment the cops walk in the bar that it's a kid's toy store. Like if a cop is walking, you have to "Cop coming in, hide your drinks," and everybody has to stand like this and pretend that they're reading a comic book or playing with a Tonka truck or something. That's not. There's still a problem that needs to be addressed there. So I can get this chip because someone on the other side of the world will find these donor boards that often have holes pegged through them. Let me see if I could find one that has a hole pegged through it. They'll find me these boards from God knows where with donor parts still on them. And in recent days, because they've been harder to get, they'll find them in wings and all sorts of other ridiculous shit. They'll actually cut them up into pieces. I don't know what the hell they're doing to get them through. And then they'll wind up distributing them. These are boards that are obviously junk that would otherwise be thrown away, and all the chips on those boards that would otherwise be thrown away at that point would then be considered worthless. I would like to propose something radical, that the power chip for this board, rather than having to dig through dumpsters and trash or sneak through security with shit that otherwise would have been thrown away, that we actually be able to go to a distributor of Texas Instruments and buy the chip from them for fair market value. Let them make the chip for 20 to 40 cents. Let me buy it for $5 to $20. Let Newark or DigiKey or Mouser make their profit. Let Texas Instruments make their profit. Let me make my profit. And that be that. So there are chips where I can get them, I can find donor boards, and then there's chips where I really just can't. I have to go to there's chips where would have to actually go to an Apple store. I would have to buy an iPhone XR charger I would have to, I mean, a charging case with a lithium-ion battery and everything, one of those extended battery cases, for $120 or so. I have to rip that open, throw away and discard the lithium battery and everything else after I've ripped off the one chip I need to put it on here. It's a waste. It's an absolute waste. So it is possible to be crafty in this business and figure out ways to do your job. But it's like this is not something that I can really consider sustainable into the future. It's not something that I would invest more money in. It's not something where I would feel comfortable taking out a bank loan to invest in such a business. It limits the investment in the industry, but also it ensures that the people that get into this business are not always going to be the best and the brightest. You know, if you're someone who has a high level of talent and skill and capability, and you have two choices as to where to spend your time and your money, and you can spend it in one area where there is support, where you're able to do your job, and in another area where you're not able to do your job, you're probably not going to decide to do this. So it kind of limits the investment of not just money, but also intellectual capital into these businesses. And that is, in my opinion, a serious problem. Because there are chips where I really don't have an option for where I can buy it. Like a CD3217, I got no options there. So that's just something I thought would be worth covering, because it's if it's a question that he had, as a journalist that did a lot of really good research, that really wanted to understand my cause, I figured, it's just worth addressing here. Just for the people that don't wind up reading his piece that he does. Also, Mauser's shipping is slow at the moment. That's because the chips are probably in the, I don't know how to pronounce it, canal. You may be asking why I don't use a fiberglass pen. The fiberglass pen is so wide that it winds up going over the traces right next to it. I haven't found a fiberglass pen that allows me the degree of accuracy that I want to feel comfortable doing this. Suez Canal. Yeah. The Suez Canal. There's a lot of stuff on that damn boat. Oil, livestock. How long do you think the ship is going to stay stuck? I don't know. It made me feel a lot more confident about driving. Because at first I thought, I'm going to start driving. I got this car. Well, what if I screw up? What if I do this? What if I crash? Oh, no. And then I see that a professional that's carrying billions of dollars worth of cargo drove a ship around a canal in the shape of cock and balls and then immediately crashed it into the side of the canal. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I can't do worse than that guy. I can't do worse than that guy, can I? I don't want to just solder it to the trace. I'm actually going to solder it to the component that it's going to as well. And that's going to be this side of the capacitor up here. Do I want to do that when this is over? Yeah, I probably don't. So if I do that, this wire is going to be going over that probe point, which is for something else. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's a little too risky. Driving in snow is fun. Yeah, I have all-wheel drive, so I'll try it. What brand's the t-shirt? This is an Under Armour shirt that I bought on clearance. I actually like this shirt. I would advocate for Under Armour shirts if it wasn't for the price of the shirt. So I like this shirt, but I don't want to give you the impression that I like it as retail price, because I didn't pay the retail price of the shirt. But I like the shirt. I do like the shirt. I just don't like it to like the $30 or $40 whatever that it usually costs like it. But this is also an old beat-up shirt. I got a Tesla Model 3. Now roast me. Yes, roast me. Find an electric car that has 350 miles of range without you having to carry a fucking battery trailer behind it. Have you considered running for president in 2024? I have not. Sonny is not going to be homeless in 2 days. He has like 3 homes. Eric already showed defects in interior roasting you. Oh yeah, the interior is nothing special in those cars. Buy a Peng C6. Peng P6. I'll consider it for the next one. I want a Cybertruck. Nah, too much. Ah, son of a bitch. I just flipped the chip and it went right into the fume extractor, and I got it right before it made its way all the way in. Are you allowed to repair a Tesla? I am probably not allowed to repair a Tesla because I don't know jack shit about cars. Paul's gonna fix my Tesla. But I'm not gonna break my Tesla because I don't plan on crashing it. Although there has been a pool here as betting on how long it is until I crash it. There's a reason that I hired a mechanic 3 years ago. I shouldn't say that out loud on stream. I should wait till he comes back from vacation. Where's all the videos of you doing board repair? Getting people who work here to be on camera has not worked out the way they hate being on camera. Like, I don't know how else to put it. They fucking hate it. So every now and then I'll do one. Why does Elon support entrepreneurship but he doesn't want any Tesla Center touching his cars? Does he, or does he do that just because the cult of personality thing is necessary for sales and to keep the stock price high? I was looking at some Ford electric car too, but they had less range for more money than the Tesla did. I think it was like $15,000 more, and you got shittier range than Tesla did. B, they just had a recall recently because something wasn't bolted into the bottom of it. And C, Ford also paid the Coalition for Safe and Secure Data for those ads about how if right to repair passes, you're going to get, raped in a parking lot or whatever. For some reason, I was under the impression that Tesla was the only anti-repairish car company. And then I looked at that ballot initiative in Massachusetts for right to repair, and I saw that Toyota's name was on it, Honda's name was on it, Nissan's name was on it, Ford's name was on it, General Motors, which is responsible for a bunch of car brands, is on it. There were a lot of car companies that paid for that commercial that promoted the idea that if right to repair passes for your motor vehicle, that you're going to get raped in a parking lot or have your house broken into. And that made me sad, because I didn't... Like, the way that the people in my comment section described Toyota as a company, I wasn't expecting them to be the type of company that pays for that type of commercial. I got those ads in Massachusetts. It's lunacy. You should offer your employees a bonus to stream. Maybe they get to keep some stream donations. I would. But that's the thing. If someone says, I hate being on camera, just because you offer them money, it's not going to make them happy to be on camera. They're just going to be a miserable person that's now just doing it for the extra 15 or 25 bucks. And that's like, you have to find someone who is willing. You have to have someone who's willing to do it even if they weren't getting the money, and then give them the money. It's not like find someone who fucking hates the idea of being on camera and then say you get an extra 20 bucks or so, and then like, oh, never mind, I love being on camera. Like, it's not really how it works. I wish I had your patience. I don't have that much patience. Usually the chip floats its way into place automatically where it's supposed to go, but I completely forgot how to solder because I haven't been here for a while. But let's see if this works now. Government motors, I'm shocked. Yeah. Tesla is the best car brand in America. I don't know. I don't know about that because I don't know a lot about the other brands. I just know that I looked to check out a Ford, and then like before I even made my way to the dealer, someone linked me and said, yeah, like there's already a recall on this piece of shit because they didn't bolt in the bottom assembly or something like that. And it's like, I mean, Ford has all these recalls. Like there was my friend has a Fiesta with the transmission is just destroyed. She kept bringing it in to get it fixed, and they kept giving her another fucking shitty one with a shitty transmission. There's the F-150s that seem to have a new recall every year or two. Like it's not like Ford is. I don't know. I asked my friend why people buy Ford, and like what is the appeal of it, and he just looked at me and said America. And I said, really? That's it? And it's like America. I don't know much about cars. I know that the Ford people and the Chevy people hate each other. I know that everybody hates the Tesla people hate everybody else, the Ford people hate the Chevy people hate the Ford people. Like there's all these little sub niches of culture war inside the car community that I really had no idea about because for the entirety of my life I've just never used a car or ever gotten involved in it, so I wasn't really aware of it at all. But I'm very excited to learn all the different sub niches of people that make fun of each other and all the different reasons that they make fun of each other based on the brand name on their product. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. All right, so let's see if this works. JP says they all have recalls. All brands or all Fords? Or all American cars? Of all the recalls for there to be, I didn't want the recall to be for the bottom falling out of the car, you know? Like if the roof falls off of it, that's different. I heard you don't like SSL, but how do you feel about API? I like API. API is not bad. API is not a gimmick. I've always found SSL to be a bit of a gimmick. You know, like Jim Williams used to say that when you put a bell tree through an SSL, it doesn't come out the other end. And like I get where he's coming from there. All cars have recall. I know, but like Ford just really like every person that I know with a Ford regrets the fact that they bought a Ford. So roof falls off. It's a bonus feature. It's a convertible. Oh, all brands have recalls. We'll see. With my luck, mine will have a recall. Okay, so let's see what I have here. So it looks like I'm up to 30 milliamps, and I do have 3.3 volts. So before I didn't have 3.3 volts, now I do. Obviously, the problem is that the rest of the fucking thing doesn't work. And also, my PP5 ES5 that was 5 volts before is now 0.3, meaning that I fucked something up. Okay, did I put a chip on that's dead? Did Lewis put a chip on that's dead? That's a good question. You know, the board that I took that off of was not exactly the brightest, the best and brightest, so we are going to replace it one more time. But before I replace that one more time, I'm going to eat my lunch. There was a missing trace. Did you jump for that? Yes. Were you paying attention, Kopes? Eat my lunch. I just shipped my MacBook to you guys. Should get there Wednesday. Hopefully it's fixable. Broccoli. Yay. This is a steak and broccoli. And some cheese. And some spicy sauce. Sonny says my Tesla has a recall for the RAM. James says Ford fixer repair daily. So I take it you would prefer the Chevy to the Ford. Like Paul prefers Chevy to Ford. He was the one who first told me about the fixer repair daily or found on road dead thing. Ford is a dumpster fire. GM used to build fantastic powertrains and shit interiors, but now they're crap too. Huh. Hyundai has a P1326 code. Rods bearing worn out and Fed cord settlement, owners get lifetime warranty for new engine. I was looking at this Hyundai electric car, but it had something like 170-mile range. All cars suck. I suppose I'll find that out very soon. I'll find that out soon, I'm sure. I like the API 550 equalizer, but the last time I tried that was like 12 years ago. Probably more, actually. I offered Lewis a free Fiat and he turned it down. A Fiat with a broken and destroyed transmission, beat to shit, in the middle of Queens. I have a Ford truck, 2 Chevy trucks. My daily driver is a Honda, and I'm gainfully employed by Toyota. I make fun of them all. I think the thing that makes Tesla the worst, it's not the quality of the car, it's not the salesman, it's the fanboys. Tesla fanboys are actually worse than Apple fanboys, if you can believe that. Because it does get worse. There is something even worse than an Apple fanboy, and that is a Tesla fanboy. I think most of the hate that you see is not about the actual car, it stems from the fucking people that support the car. Like, this is one video Doug DeMoro did that I thought was kind of funny, on why Teslas suck. And it wasn't on why Teslas suck. He was going over the most common complaints, and then pretending that he believed in them, and then going dough like he's an idiot when he proved himself wrong. Actually kind of funny. It got thumbed down to shit because everybody just read the title that Tesla sucks and didn't actually watch the video and couldn't even comprehend the video because what they saw and the title enraged them so much that they just had to say that. It was just like, it's such stupidity. Or there's one comment that I made on disabling a modification. I forget what it was. There's a video I did like a year and a half ago, and it got posted to this Tesla group on Reddit. And like nobody even listened to what I said in the video. They just like immediately like, fuck that guy, blah, 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 blah. It's like, holy shit. This is like Apple. But yeah, just because I have the car. I got the car because range and price. And there's chargers that have high power delivery all over the place, more so than there are for other brands. I did not buy that car because I fucking worship Elon Musk or any stupid shit like that. When are we going to add a dash to your car? Unless it has all the same stuff yours does, it's useless. How are you going to charge that in New York City? Blackmail Sonny to get free charging. By the way, Sonny, I have a question for you. Does your car see phantom people? Because my car sees dead people. Like, I got so scared the other day because I heard a beep, and I look at the screen, and there's a person, and my car was going over the person, and then I look around me, and there's no actual person. And then I looked on YouTube, and there's this one guy that does a video where he's going through a cemetery, and the car has people that it sees walking by him. Like, what the fuck? So the car thought that there were people around him when there weren't, and that's been happening. Like every now and then I'll look at the screen at a red light and there's no person next to me, but the car screen thinks there's a person there. You think I'm gonna trust this shit to drive itself? You're out of your goddamn mind. Hell no. Yeah, look at the cemetery video. He added some music to it. Yeah, I'll be honest, like for a quick second my heart just sunk into my stomach and I felt this chill of what it's gonna be like to be in prison. Because I thought, oh my God, I killed someone. I ran them over with my car in the first, oh my God, oh no. What if he's dead? What if I get vehicular homicide? And then, you know, all this stuff ran through my head, and then I realized, my brain snapped to it about half a second later and realized, wait a second. It's a stupid fucking AI in the car. Can't tell the difference between like a fly and a person. I did pass my driver's test. Check it out. So check this out. I actually was not able to, they gave me a receipt and they said in 2 weeks I'll get my license. The receipt faded. Now, I realized that the DMV in New York is like every part of the government in New York, completely ineffectual, useless, worthless, and incapable of accomplishing anything worthwhile. So I took a picture of my receipt so that I could then print it out later, which I did. And you can see, overall result, P. So this is my temporary license. So I actually have this in my car. And if I do get pulled over, I do wonder what's going to happen. Like, they're probably just going to fucking tear that up and say, what the fuck is this? Get out of the car. This isn't an ID. I have a learner's permit, but the only license I have is that. because they haven't actually mailed me my ID yet, even though it's been a month. But yeah, I have that thing in my car. Like that's my proof that I can drive. It'll take longer to get home from work in a Tesla versus a bike. So on my bike, if I'm aiming to be home quickly, I can get home in 27 minutes. In the Tesla, it takes me 59 minutes. So it's almost, it's twice the amount of time to get home in a car, which is why using the car to get around New York City makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous. I used the bike to get to work today, and the car is for leaving New York City. The car is not to get around in New York City. You're punishing yourself painfully having a car in New York City. That 59 minutes did not include the time it took to park, or get a space, or walk home from my parking space. 27 minutes with my bike included from the time that I left my apartment to the time that I was inside the store, parked outside my office with the motorized bicycle. It makes no sense whatsoever in New York to have a car. It only makes sense if you're leaving the city, or for the ability to leave the city and be free. Did you get a vanity plate that says Electro or something? No, fuck that. Again, the reason that people hate Teslas, they don't hate the car. They hate the people that drive the car. That's an important thing to understand. And part of that is all the ridiculous vanity plates. So my license plate is a mixture of random letters and numbers like every other normal person's, just to avoid it being some, my car contributing to some stupid culture war. Also, if getting vanity plates requires being on hold with the DMV one more time, it's just not worth it. Not worth it. Can we get car rant videos instead of bike rant videos? Those will be coming up. Okay, so where was I with this? Where we were with this is the fact that I think the TPS 51980 that I put on is no good. So remember, SMC PMG2 enable is going to be present because we're getting PP3v3S5, which is the same enable signal that's required to create PP5ES5 and PP3v3S5, but we're not getting PP5ES5, which means it's either screwed up soldering, very possible, or that I just grabbed a shit chip from a shit donor, and I'm really hoping I grabbed a shit chip from a shit donor and not something else. But there's one way to find out. So I'm going to remove this one, put another one on, and if that's not what's keeping it down, then it may be a short circuit on a higher power line like PP5ES4, PP5ES3, or PP5ESO, but we'll find that out once the chip is replaced and go from there. Cat ran video, fuck this traffic. Yeah, that's the thing that I really am not excited about, honestly. Like the whole thing with having a car where you have to deal with traffic, that's just bullshit. I don't know why people prefer this as a means of transportation when they're not going someplace long term. When there's traffic ahead on my bike and the sidewalk is empty, I just, go to the side of the road, I go to the side, I take the sidewalk, or I take the side of the road, or I'll just go between the car while all the cars are still. And of course, as I said in my last video, don't be an asshole. Don't actually, you shouldn't hit the cars as you're doing that. Make every effort to not hit the cars. But you can go through all of that stuff. You can't do that in a car. It's a tank. It's unwieldy. It's not really. It's not. I feel like I'm trapped. Honestly, I feel like I'm playing a video game without my cheat codes. That's what it feels like being in a car. All my cheat codes no longer exist. Like cheat code of look both ways at a red light, and if there's nobody there, go. You got a license plate now. Cheat code of if there's a bunch of traffic, go to the left side of the road and just ride right past the traffic. Can't do that anymore either. Oh, you have to turn around here because there's a blockade up ahead. So there's a blockade up ahead. Turn around. No, can't do that. I gotta go around like 4 or 5 times rather than just do a little U-turn on my bike and then go back to the last block and go from there. It's like all the cheat codes are gone. And I miss my cheat codes. That's the thing. I knew I would miss, it's nice that when it's 20 degrees outside that you're not stuck outside in the 20 degrees, or when it's raining, you're not stuck outside in the rain. That stuff is a positive. I give it that. But the downside is everything else. In a smart car, you're not going to fit through all that stuff, because when I'm going through traffic in New York City, there's barely room for my bike to fit through all that stuff. I'll have to maneuver around And as I'm maneuvering, you know, around, I'm moving my mirrors inwards so that I'm not hitting the cars near me. So I know a smart car wouldn't fit through that. Put the air horn on the Tesla since you finally have a battery big enough for it. I should. That air horn is still sitting on my kit in case there's another set of protests and I need to keep people away from the front of the store. I still have my air horn jig. I was using a remote desktop to log into the front computer that I had the power supply on to turn that so that I could send 12 volts to the relay and turn the horn on. Which way was this sitting? This way. My God, I've completely forgotten how to solder a QFN. It's really interesting how quickly I can lose a capability that I used to have when I just don't use it for, you know, like a week and a half or so. This is really supposed to be easy. Hello, Mr. Tarman. How are you doing today? Man of Tar. Tarman. I'm happy I live in a small town. Few roads and easy to get around. I've always been curious what people in small towns did for work prior to there being the rise of remote work and all that. What do you do? What's the economic opportunity? Does everybody work at the same company? Is it that people are retired? I'm curious, because I'm not trying to shit on small towns. I like small towns, and I've been to small towns, and I've wanted the opportunity to work out of or live in the small town, but I couldn't because all of my business was back here. All my clients were back here. So, and I've always kind of been curious, if you live in a small town, like, what do you do? Make sure my jumper wire is soldered in nicely there. Alright. We're going to turn this on again in a moment once it's been rapid cooled, and then we'll see that it's still missing some PP5 ES5 for some ridiculous reason. I do take mail-in repairs, but not for a Chromebook. Yeah, no Dyson Chromebook. Check out Mr. Justin M in Discord. He does professional Chromebook repair en masse. I would ask him. Justin M in the company Discord. Miak. Alright. As you can see, we have 1.5 amps being taken. And that 1.5 amps, 600 now. We got a fan spin. Beautiful. So this is a working board. I am going to plug this in because I'm concerned that it went down at 600 milliamps. 600 milliamps is way too low for this. This is a quad-core. I forget if this is a Haswell or a Broadwell processor. I believe this is a Haswell. But a Haswell quad-core CPU should not be taking only 650 milliamps, particularly on startup before all the power management stuff and the power-saving features and shit go into play. So I'm somewhat concerned there. So I'm going to plug this in and we're going to see why it's taking so little. Something's weird there. I live in Syracuse, and it's made up of a bunch of other towns that collectively became Syracuse, but Syracuse itself was pretty small. I live in a small town and do various technical work for local industry. There aren't many with strong skills in that area. Interesting. Like, what is the local industry in a small town? How much current might be normal for this board at the starting point? I don't remember, but I know it's above an amp. It's an amp to an amp and a half. It drops to 600 milliamps when it does not detect a screen. Since when? I don't remember it doing that in the old days. Maybe it's just... Man, I'm an out-of-loop technician, aren't I? I used to know all this stuff like the back of my hand. Now I've become a total freaking noob. Now I am a complete and utter noob. Alright, so I'm going to plug this in. Let's see. Is it now right? Is it now right? Is he correct? Motherfucker, he's correct. All right. He is correct. Yep. Plug in the screen. Stays 901 amp. Well, the backlights showed up on the screen over here that I can see. So I'm satisfied that this board now works. It will get ultrasonically cleaned just in case there's any corrosion hiding under any of the chips around here that I couldn't see with my bare eyes. It'll get ultrasonically cleaned. It'll get reassembled and tested by one of the reassembly members of the team. You have a working board. That's about it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. If you want to contribute your knowledge to help other people who are working in this industry to be able to get into it, be able to better fix their own products, or for end users to be able to fix their own products, feel free to go over to wiki2.rossmangroup.com. That's wiki2.rossmangroup.com. Create an article or edit one of the pre-existing articles. We've got an article for every single MacBook motherboard. Recently, we got some iPhone articles that someone contributed, and I'd highly appreciate any articles that you contribute or any editing of current articles to make them more relevant by adding repair solutions that are not in the guide. There's this theory that if you make this information more available, it's going to lead to bad people getting into the industry, or your competition will be able to do what you do, so you'll be gone. And I really hope that the fact that this business has grown from being a one-man band to 15 people kind of disproves that a little bit and encourages you to do more sharing. If everybody did more sharing, everybody would have more information, everybody would be more capable of doing more repairs, and everybody would be able to grow. Because at the end of the day, it's not this repair shop versus that repair shop. It's authorized repair versus the unauthorized repair that most people don't even know exists, even though most of the time they're a better deal. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.